Hi, thanks for joining me. So today I'd like to do a video response to xcornmuffinx, who just did his 21st of Q&A videos. He's been doing these since like earlier in the year. If you don't know xcornmuffinx, I would be surprised if you aren't watching him if you are somebody who watches my channel. But I'll put a link to his channel and this video that I'm responding to down in the description. Basically, he started a Q&A and he said, just if you have more questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll keep answering them. So he's up to 21 Q&A videos that he's done so far, and they're fun. Like, I think he's going to turn this into basically just like a weekly vlog. So I'm looking forward to that. But he responded to just a comment, I guess a comment and a question that I made, which was he had expressed some interest in attending Comic Market. He said he'd never been before, and I was poking fun at him, saying, "Hey, well, I'm gonna remind you." He's like, "If somebody reminds me to go to Winter Comic Day, I will go to Winter Comic Day." So I said, "I will remind you." Now, it's called Comic Market, and it's shortened to Comiket, I believe, but I call it Comiket. So that's what I'm going to call it. And it's just a huge fan convention. Think of it sort of like PAX, like the PAX conventions here. I mean, those are essentially like video game fan conventions, or like any fan. There's a lot of fan conventions, anime fan conventions and stuff. You guys essentially know what that is. But the thing about Comic Market in particular is that it's huge. I've literally never seen that many people in one place before, ever. It's a sea of people, and if you know this venue, if you've ever been to, it's Tokyo Big Sight. It's on an island that I totally know the name of. It's like a man-made island, and they put a bunch of big buildings there. And anyway, I forget what the name of it is, but it's huge. The venue is really big, and I've been to other events at that venue at Tokyo Big Sight. There's essentially like there's basically two wings. There's like the East Halls and the West Halls. So on the east side, I believe it's like kind of split down the middle. Like the main walkway goes through the middle, and then on the two sides there's two halls. So that's kind of the East Hall, and then the West Hall is a little more like horseshoe shaped, and I believe it's two floors, so, whereas the East is only one. So, like, other events that I've been to there will take up like one half of the East Hall. Big events. Comic Market takes up the entire venue. It's both sides of East Hall, top and bottom of West Hall, just the whole thing, and parts of the outside for people to do cosplay. So it's big, and it's a little crazy. There have been lots of like anime episodes at this point made about like kind of comically poking fun at especially people's first time going to Comic Market. So I mean, you may have seen some of that kind of stuff. Most recently, there was one in a show I started watching called Kiss Him Not Me, also known as I forget what the Japanese name is, but anyway, it's a really cute show about like a Fujoshi girl who ends up being really popular with like this group of Ike men, these kind of hot guys, and so she ends up coercing them all into going to Comic Market with her and helping her buy books, and it's funny. But there've been a lot of episodes like that, and Genshiken, and various shows, Lucky Star and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's a little crazy. So let me start at the beginning. I want to tell one story. I want to tell two stories basically, and I want to give a little primer on Comic Market for Corn Muffin, I guess, who hasn't been, for what it's worth. But so the first story, I guess, just the first time I went, because I didn't know what was going on. I had just heard about this Comic Market thing and thought it would be cool. Like, I just sort of was going to Japan to study Japanese for the summer. So I did that for about 2 months, and then we just had like some free time, on our visa, and just after like the way our travel arrangements were, just for everybody to like have a week or two like after to just go travel. I guess you could do it however you wanted to till your visa ran out. So I was planning to travel for like a week and a half. I went with one of my friends from the school down to Nara, and then we went. We took Shinkansen. I don't know if it goes from Nara. I would assume that's probably why we were there, but maybe I don't know. Maybe we had to go somewhere else to catch Shinkansen. But we hopped on that to Tokyo, and I'm pretty sure we went there together, and then we split up. But it was anyway. So when we got there was just like the timing was just perfect. That's when summer comic market was happening. So we went, and it's funny because like I mentioned that episode of Kiss Him Not Me. Um, Basically what that boiled down to was like, these hot looking guys, these young guys, like going around and like buying all of like the BL manga that this Fujoshi girl like wants, from all of these like different doujin circles at Comic Market. And ironically, looking at it now, I'm like, oh wow, like we were two like, probably 22-year-old guys, um, like together, and I didn't like I said, we didn't know what we were doing. So typically the West Wing is all shoujo stuff. So it's all like the girl stuff, the female creators, and the East Hall tends to be all the male creators, and it's not like one or the other. Like there's actually quite a few female creators in the East Hall and quite a few male creators in the West Hall, but it's mostly like girl-oriented stuff in the West Hall and guy-oriented stuff in the East Hall. So we just went to the West Hall because we didn't know where we were going, and so we walked around like all the tables of like all of the girls there that had like done all of their comics and their crafts and things like that, and it was fun. I mean, it was interesting, and we talked to a bunch of people, and we got to see like the stuff they were doing, and it was like, all right. But thinking about it now, like those girls were probably like, I don't know what they were thinking about these two young foreigner guys, like coming around, like looking at their BL comics the fan comics that they make. But anyway, I do remember I got a really cool like pin of Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, I mean, this is the sort of thing that you'll find. You'll find all kinds of stuff. I mean, music, video games that people have made, like CG 3D animations that they've done, that they're selling on discs or things like that. Like I said, sort of like crafts and like Itasha stickers, pre-made sort of stuff that you can get from people that are making just all kinds of stuff. It's so cool. Yeah. So anyway, so I mean, but this was really low tech. Like they did. I'm assuming they reproduced these like color copies or something, and just like laminated paper and then cut it out and like made it into a pin. I bought. I'm sure I still have that kicking around somewhere in a drawer. Anyway. Yeah, so that was that time. So if you want to do more of the guy oriented stuff, go over to East Hall. I wouldn't discourage you from checking out the West Hall. In fact, I think it's fun to check out both of them if you can. Make the time. One thing to keep in mind is this is a fairly short event, and it's a little heavily focused on the morning because there's a lot of stuff going on. For starters, the second level of the West Hall is all industry booths. So aside from just all the fan-made stuff, you also have like industry companies, are having their own booths, and I think they're typically selling merchandise at them. So I mean, it's cool. You can have like, companies that got their start in Comiket, like Type Moon and things like that, have will have an industry booth at Comic Market. But like kind of I think the big like anime retailers and stuff will have stuff, and various companies will have booths. And so sometimes like the people that are really hardcore about getting some of this limited edition stuff that's only going to be available at Comic Market, they're going to be getting there early. They're going to be waiting in line, hours before the doors even open. I don't remember, so you're going to want to check to see when the doors open. They probably open around, it's not even that early. I think it's about 8 in the morning, but people are probably going to be getting there at like 6 in the morning and stuff, and just waiting around for the doors to open. Now, the one mistake that I've made in the past is, I've walked around, I've had a good time, I've been kind of hungry, so around noon I'll stop, I'll get something to eat at the, one of the eateries at the venue, and then Comic Market's over, like, almost right at, like during lunch or soon after, because I think it ends at like 1 o'clock maybe. So it's not like this really long all day thing. It by 1 or 2 anyway, it's done. So so certainly, like, if you're just going the first time and you just want to like wander around, you don't have to get there particularly early. But keep in mind, like, you're going to be getting to, whatever station it is. You're going to be getting on the I think it's the Yudikamome line, and it's going to be it's sort of like a monorail or something like that that goes all over. Man, I wish I could remember the name of the island. It's like common, but anyway, it goes around the island. I mean, that takes a little time to get where you're going. I mean, maybe a half hour or something to Tokyo Big Set. I sort of forget. But it's going to be packed. And then, it's going to get more and more full, like the train to get there, probably. And, you're going to arrive at the venue. And, like, even if you've gotten there after the doors have opened and the line is moving, just to, like, get through the line, that could take, like, an hour. So, there's a time commitment just to getting into the venue. Now, once you're in there, like I said, there's the East Hall, there's the West Hall, there's the industry booths. Also, if you head outside, there's going to be a line that goes to a spot where they have set up for cosplayers. So you can totally check that out. Again, I don't really know. I'm not super into the cosplay. I've checked out the cosplay area a couple of times. And I'm the kind of person who, like, I'm not like a good photographer, but I do know I'm at least knowledgeable about the basics of photography, of like actually using like the manual settings on cameras and things like that to a certain extent. Like I've had to be trained in that for jobs that I've done. So anyway, I'm comfortable with a camera, and I've gone and taken photos of cosplayers, but I still I've never been able to get over the uncomfortableness of it. I'm kind of a shy person, and it's just no, for whatever reason, I feel uncomfortable asking people if I can take their picture, and then taking their picture, getting it's just it's weird for me, but that hasn't stopped me from at least engaging in that a few times, and I especially can see some people who, if you're just going out of curiosity and if you're not super into the books, or you don't find a whole lot of things that you're really excited about, the cosplay area is kind of a cool place. It's outside. It's probably, well, I mean, in the winter it's going to be cooler, so you can go out there and chill out. Actually, now that I think of it, I'm not sure. I assume they do cosplay at the Winter Comiket. Like I said, it's not the thing I'm the most interested in. So I guess I've mostly encountered that at Summer Comiket, and it's hot, outside. It's hot inside, but so I'm not 100% sure on that at Winter Comiket, but I assume that they still do it. So yeah, so my story about Winter Comiket. I guess I will convey this, and then I'll talk a little bit about some of the specifics. So I had gone to the Summer Comiket before, and Winter Comiket, I'm thinking, oh, this might be really fun to go to because it's not going to be as hot. And then Corn Muffin was mentioning he's kind of sensitive to smells, and there's definitely kind of an odor. There's an aroma to Comic Market, but it's not wholly unpleasant. I've actually really found Summer Comiket, personally, it's never really exceeded the threshold of my tolerance. It's been fairly tolerable. It hasn't bothered me. I've actually had it be more kind of offensive and bothersome in Book Off, with a bunch of sweaty geeks sitting around reading the manga, just you're sort of crammed in there. I'm just trying to get from one place to the other, and there's these smelly, sweaty chubby otaku guys reading comic books. That's been more unpleasant for me than Summer Comiket has. But your mileage may vary. So, I thought it was a good idea. Hey, I'll go to Winter Comiket too. I wanted to go, visit my friend during the holidays. I figured we could spend, Christmas together and hit Comic Market, and it would be totally cool. So, he didn't go with me at the time. This is a different friend. He has gone with me before, since then. But this time he didn't go. I believe I went by myself. And what I hadn't counted on was the amount of people there. Now, I had said, there's a lot of people, more people than I've ever seen in any one place at any one time ever at Comic Market. But one thing about Summer Comiket is it's 3 days. So, your event is spread over, it's going to be like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that. And if you're going there for a particular circle or something like that too, they're not necessarily going to be there for all 3 days. So you might be going on a particular day to go for particular stuff, and I'm not really sure how that works into the industry booths and stuff like that, because I've never really had good info on that or really cared a whole lot. But I have occasionally had circles that I really wanted to check out their stuff. So you might need to be there on a certain day to get there, and their stuff might be limited, so you might want to get there early and make it a point to get to their booth. Now when you go, there's always a catalog, so you might actually, if you can, you might want to get that catalog ahead of time. Again, if you're just going there to see what it's about, it's not strictly necessary, but if there happens to be something that you're particularly interested in, the catalog does a lot of stuff for you. It has a map of each of the halls, so you're going to know sort of what circles are in what places at what of the halls. The catalog is really thick. It's got a little square for all of the circles that are there, and it assigns them a letter and a number, and you can look them up, and you could check off okay, this is where this group is that I want to check out their stuff. This is where this one is. You can kind of prioritize where you want to go and what you want to do. Like I said, it's not the longest event in the world, so your time is kind of limited. Yeah, so when you get there, you can also get that catalog. You might have to get the catalog along with your ticket to get in, which I think is what I normally do. Is I'll get there and I'll just get the catalog and the ticket. You might not have to do that. You might just be able to pay your admission and go in. But you it really helps to have the map to even just have a general idea of what stuff is where. So I'm putting some images of that up. It's from a particular website, and I already forget. I think it's Rin's Guide to Comic Market or something. I'll put a link to that page in the description also, because I just ripped off these images, and it's not I asked permission or anything. So anyway, if you want to visit their guide, they might have some more information that is relevant to going to Comic Market. But my story, which I still haven't gotten to, at Winter Comiket, is that it's only a 2-day event. So you're losing one whole day out of the typical Comic Market experience. And what I didn't realize that means is that you're essentially squeezing all 3 days worth of circles and all 3 days worth of people through 2 days. And that is crazy. It was more insane than I was used to, or than I was expecting. So, and I kind of naively, really excitedly have, invited, a couple friends to, hey, come to Summer Comiket with me when I was, over in Japan. A friend that had come over with me and my other friend that I was staying with. And so, their first time at Summer Comiket was comically kind of like these, these episodes of the anime of people's first time going to Comic Market. And it didn't even cross my mind that, they might not be comfortable with, the crowds there. And one of my friends kind of wasn't, it was really overwhelming for him. And for me, I'm not a social person. I don't kind of big group social situations. That is anxiety inducing for me. But this is different. It's kind of energizing, because it's a whole bunch of creators. It's a whole bunch of really geeky people, and I just I really like it. But the crowds during Winter Comiket, during that 2-day period, were a lot. It was a little nuts. And what happened is, I'm just sort of trying to browse around. I didn't really have, I think maybe I had an agenda, but I'd done what I wanted to do. So I'm just sort of going in between the tables. They've got these rows and rows of tables, and you're just walking in between them. I was just browsing stuff. But it was this sea of people. and suddenly I realized like I couldn't move, and like basically like the whole crowd had just gotten compacted and stuck between like this whole row of like in the hall, like between these tables, and like nobody could shop at like the tables, and like everyone was sort of jostling each other around, and I don't want to say I was like terrified or anything, so I really wasn't, but I was unnerved. It wasn't a pleasant experience, and we were like that for a few minutes, and the one of the staff, this girl's coming over, she's talking on the megaphone, like, oh, everybody, I don't know if I remember exactly what she was saying, but she was trying to get the crowd to break up. She's like, this is dangerous, you gotta, break up. And I didn't really know what to do, because, like, you're seriously, you're just like this one person stuck in this sea of people, and you can't get anywhere. So luckily, some people I think that must have had a little more experience in this. Kind of like they sort of just came up behind me and like kind of pushed me along, and I kind of got what was going on, so I sort of started doing that too, and we sort of made this like conga line like out of the crowd, which involved like quite a bit of like pushing. It's like I've been in a mosh pit before once, which like wasn't fun for me either, and like. So I don't know. Maybe this has nothing to do with the mosh pit, but it's like you're definitely like in a crowd of people, like really packed in, and like trying to basically push your way out, and it was not a pleasant experience. So I had a good time. I was fine. Everyone was fine. I don't think anyone got hurt, and I had a nice time at Comic Market and got stuff I wanted to, and it was fun. But keep in mind, like. There's going to be a lot of people there in the winter, at least in my experience. The first time I went to Summer Comic Day was in 1998, so that was quite a while ago. But when I went to that Winter Comic Day, it was probably in 2000, I don't know when, 6, 7, somewhere more in that range, which is still a decade ago. But, I don't know. Things don't change a whole lot at Comic Market, so I have a feeling that it could be a danger. But I would still really encourage you to go to Winter Comic Market. I'll look up when, in fact, I'm just going to look up when it is now, and if it takes me a while, I'll just cut here. Okay, so Comic Market 91 at Tokyo Big Sight will take place in the winter, December 29th, 30th, and 31st in 2016. So possibly they've either had the good sense to expand it to 3 days during the winter, or maybe that was just some weird one-off thing where for some reason they could only do it for 2 days. So breathe a sigh of relief. It sounds like this year Winter Comic Day will be 3 days in at the end of December. So I would especially in that case I would highly encourage that you just go and check it out. Now another thing that my friend looked up. The last time we went, I wasn't even planning to go, and he was like, "Let's go to Comic Market," and I'm just like, "What?" I'm like, 'cause I basically dragged him to it, and I thought he like didn't have a good time. But he was like, "Yeah, let's. I want to go to Comic Market and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, well, okay. I'm not going to say no. I just wasn't. I was just planning to have like one time I went to Japan where I didn't go to Comic Market, but we did. It's. If anyone was going to ask me any time to go to Comic Market, the answer would be yes. So anyway, he had looked up ahead of time, I think, some of the parking lots around the venue. If you're familiar with them at all, or I'm sure you can like look up where people are going to tend to park with their Itasha cars. That was actually kind of a fun thing that we did too. It's something you can do kind of after the event's over. Like people are still not necessarily like jumping right in their cars and driving home, because again, everything is super packed. I'm sure the roads are packed, the trains to get back are packed. Like it's not necessarily going to take you another hour to get through a line to get back out at the end, but it might take you like 20 minutes or something. It's a big event. So anyway, we went and like checked out a bunch of like people's Itasha cars, and it was super cool. Like it was really fun to see them. And if there's somebody there, like you might want to ask if you can take a picture of their car, or like you could talk to them about like I don't know the cartoon characters they put on the side of their car and stuff. But that's kind of a fun thing too. So it's a really cool event. I just kind of wanted to let you guys like relay my story of like getting stuck in the crowd, and just also like I don't know, kind of spending my first comic market in the shoujo like Fujoshi area, which it's a funny memory. I think it's really an appropriate story about your first time at comic market, not knowing what the heck you're doing. So that's it. This is just a little vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Corn Muffin, I hope that you attend December 29th, 30th, or 31st, and I want to hear all about it when you go. So anyway, I'll try to remind you again as we get closer. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope you'll join me again for more video game and anime related videos, and weird vlogs and stuff. Thank you for watching. Take care.